Hello, Carmen and Murray. It's great to see you today. And thanks for making the time to talk to me about some of the fabulous panel conversations we've got coming up at the conference.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Karen. Hi, Murray.
Hi, Carmen. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. I think it's going to be a beautiful conference. It's a lovely topic, embodying meditation practices, embodying spirituality. On the Saturday afternoon panel, we've got some beautiful friends coming together. We've got Professor Rivka Margolis from the Australian Centre for Jewish Civilization at Monash University, and Charlie Hogg, who's an old body of mine from the Brahma Kumaris. He's the director of the Australian Brahma Kumaris. And also representing Indigenous culture, we've got Jamie Malu-Thomas. It's going to be a beautiful conversation. Those three people particularly have some wonderful ways of embodying spirituality, so they're going to share that with us.
Well, that sounds so interesting, Carmen. And I guess
Yeah.
it just comes to me as you're describing these speakers and the topic. Embodiment certainly comes to mind. It's the first thing that comes to mind for me. It's kind of embodied practice in a conversation, I guess, is what we all look for, really, isn't it? It's how we identify authenticity and connect, I think.
As a moderator, I guess for me, embodying spirituality in that moment is to embody becoming an instrument, to just step back and not, get too tangled up wanting to present my opinion, and just really hold space and listen. And that is a beautiful embodiment of spirituality just there, the art of listening. So looking forward to that part of it.
Yes, indeed. Something else comes to mind as you express that, and that is the idea that your body is the vessel which holds your mind. It's kind of, and I think of that, in that way, with your hands open, and when you contemplate your body as a vessel for holding, I think that kind of, and for me anyway, it joins body and mind. Like, they're not separate; they are intact and component parts of the same thing.
That was really our ambition for this. How we can explore, how do we experience ourselves more fully with the practice of meditation, however that meditation looks. Yeah.
When you think of the health journey that we've been through as a society, as a world society, the last few years, where suddenly the health of our body has become quite a pressing issue as well. And, that can bring up some of the hidden things that have been lurking inside our subconscious. So, it's a very important thing to be able to honour what's come up through the body that reveals more of my authentic self and the shadow self. And
And that really feeds into your panel discussion stories, doesn't it, Murray? Yeah.
Yes, I think it does. Thank you, Karen. It's a great introduction to it. So I'm going to be moderating a panel which is about trauma awareness for meditation teachers. And so a small group of us at Meditation Australia have been contemplating the question of trauma-informed teaching. So as teachers of others, being aware of the potential for trauma in those we teach, and also, of course, ourselves, not forgetting that we also experience trauma. And I think back to the point we were just discussing about COVID and this isolation we have now, the physical isolation we have from each other. And when teaching turns online, this is no longer new for us, but how much harder it is, again, to attend to what you may be seeing in those that you're working with. Are you able to notice, to have the presence of mind, to be consciously aware and to sort of bump yourself off your teaching track, whatever that might be, and go, hang on for a minute, are you okay? And have sort of that presence of mind, and the sense of that is actually an appropriate thing to say, not an inappropriate thing to say, even though it might feel awkward or strange in some way. You're in your flow, you want to talk about this next, you want to talk about that next, and is that blank expression somebody who's just well and truly over the tools that we use to connect by computer? Are they bored with me? Do they not like the way I look? Or back to your
surely not.
Surely not. Or what's going on? And so we've thought about that too as a group of people, and have found a wonderful panel to talk about this topic. We have Janet Etty-Leal, who's got a long history of, she's an author and a speaker, but has particularly focused her teaching around children. So she'll be talking a bit about her experience of moving into settings where children are, so physically and now also in a remote way, and what she's learned about trauma-informed teaching of children. So that'll be very interesting to hear her practical experience of that and the kinds of devices she's invented as a teacher of children, because I think they translate really quite well to the teaching of adults. There's something that that's really consistent for both. And Anton Eastic is going to talk with us. So he's a meditation teacher and therapist of long standing, and he'll introduce a model for understanding trauma. So it won't be too much stuff. It's going to be a lot of story and conversation, but it's helpful, we thought, to have a simple enough model which enables us to attend to our own awareness of whatever trauma we may or may not be carrying, as well as for those with whom we are engaging as a meditation teacher. And I think he has great insight to that. He's a practicing therapist, applies that in his work daily, and looking forward to hearing him speak. And then we have Dr. Eleanor Van Ommen, who is from WA. She's a clinical psychologist and does a lot of work in the area of trauma. And she's going to talk actually quite a bit about the kind of being mind and body centered in your practice as a teacher. So again, it's informed by her clinical training, but it's also going to be very practical and applied. And we hope in the time we have to have enough time to introduce some little reflection exercises and engage in question and answer as best we can using these tools of online panels and moderation. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I think, and speaking with Karen and others at Meditation Australia, the idea of this is a beginning point for conversations about trauma-informed teaching, because, well, certainly I feel as a teacher, and I think a number of others do too, there's a lot to learn about that, not to be afraid of it, but to be thoughtful about it and sensitive about it, and what you might do may be different in the future.
Sounds amazing. I just think these are such wonderful additions to an already rich program. I think people are really going to take a lot away from both of these sessions.